Hey guys, happy Thursday. So if you are watching this video, you went into Thursday Science. Hopefully you already took your chapter 4 and 5 quiz. Shouldn't have been too difficult. I tried to keep it pretty simple, straightforward. You can find all the answers in your notes. And so now you're to this assignment here. You should have already printed out your notes and watched this intro video to National Geographic about eclipses. So this was like 4 minutes. And so this video that I'm making should be pretty short too. So just trying to keep it short and sweet and let you know what's coming. So you should have already printed out the eclipse notes. All we're gonna do today is this top part and this, that's it. And on tomorrow, I'll post another little short 5-minute video. You'll watch and answer these questions. And then on Tuesday, we will finish up talking about lunar eclipses. So we're kind of winding down our time. I just want to give you a heads up so you know what to expect. So today, we're just going to begin talking a little bit about eclipses. So let's go from the beginning here. Oh, I found out, did I tell you all this or was that my high schoolers that I can move myself? Did I do that with you guys? Did I already do this? It's kind of fun. Maybe I did it with my high schoolers. I don't know. And I'm going to put myself over there because it always seems to get in the way of the pictures down here. Okay, so we're going to talk about the difference between solar and lunar eclipses. You've already had a quick overview from the National Geographic video that you watched. So we'll talk briefly about that, and then we'll spend most of our time today just talking about solar eclipses. Come on. Okay. Oh, wait, see, now my face is in the way over there. Okay, I'll move myself over here. Okay, so solar versus lunar, what's the difference? Okay, so it's really just basically the difference is the way the sun, the moon, and the earth are lined up. So solar is when the moon, and here's the moon, and it blocks the sun from the earth. So it kind of gets in the way. So if you were, shining a flashlight and on me, I'm the earth and this is the sun. The flashlight is the sun shining on me. And then something moves in between us. It would cast a shadow, it block the light from getting on me, right? So you've got the moon blocking the sun from Earth, so it's blocking sunlight as well. Okay, and the way that trying to remember the difference between them is difficult sometimes. But I always think I know solar energy comes from the sun, so if it's blocking our solar energy, it means it's blocking the sun from shining on us. So that would be a solar eclipse when the sun is being blocked from shining on us. Versus a lunar eclipse. And that's when, as you can see over here, it's lined up differently. You've got the Earth coming between the sun and the moon. And so the lunar part, or anything from lunar, is another word for the moon. They have the lunar module going to the moon, is what they call it. So lunar is connected with moon. So if it's a lunar eclipse, now the moon, basically, the Earth is blocking the sun from getting to the moon. So it's the moon that's being blocked. Here's the sun, and here's the moon, and now you've got something coming in and blocking the sun from getting to the moon. So it is kind of hard to remember them both, but hopefully the pictures in your notes will be helpful as well. So hopefully you filled in these few little words here while I was chatting. And then let's see here. Okay, so here's another little picture, right? And so think about it for a minute, and you can maybe pause the video and think about, okay, so if you had to tell somebody what the difference between figure A and figure B is, you know that figure A is what, you know that figure B is what, and why. Why do you know those things? So you might take a second and pause this and see if you can just either say it out loud or if you're confident, write it down. And then I'm just going to go talk about the answer. I should have actually had it to where it popped up. I don't know why I didn't do that, but whatever. Anyway, so I know figure A is a solar eclipse, right? Because I have the moon. Again, the moon is coming between. I would just say the moon is blocking the light from the sun to the earth. Okay, or you could say the moon is coming between the sun and the earth, blocking the earth from getting the sun's rays or light. Okay, so something along those lines, you can word it however you'd like. But you know that figure A is a solar eclipse because we're not getting the solar energy from the sun. The moon is blocking it. You might want to word it that way. That way it helps you remember it. We're not getting the solar energy from the sun because the moon is blocking it. And then I know figure B is a lunar eclipse because the moon is not getting the rays from the sun. so it's not, remember the moon doesn't produce its own light, so it only gets its reflection. It illuminates from what the sun reflects on it, right? So in a lunar eclipse, the moon is no longer getting that illumination from the sun because the earth is blocking it. Okay, so you could have written that in however short way you need to, but just make sure it's in your words and in a way that you can remember it. Okay, and so let's see here. Let me get my face over here out of the way. Oh, I can go completely out of the way. That's weird. All right. Am I freaking y'all out? This is just fun. Okay. So on a solar eclipse again, and you have a picture, I think it's very similar to this in your notes that I put there. A solar eclipse, and you're going to write this down on the lines that are to the left of this picture in your notes. It says the moon passes directly between the sun and the earth, creating a dark shadow over a small area. So because the moon is so much smaller than the sun, it doesn't block out all sunlight to the whole earth. So that could be a misconception that you have. It could be that you think in a solar eclipse, the entire earth goes dark. Well, that's not going to happen because the earth is, the moon is really small as compared to the sun, right? But right here and in this picture here, you have it in your notes better. But in the penumbrum, the umbra is the part that basically it casts this like tiny little shadow moving across the earth. So if you're in the path of this tiny little shadow, think about when you are outside and a cloud moves over the sun and you get shade for a second and then it moves on, right? So it's kind of that same idea. There's only certain parts of the earth, whatever that path is, that path of totality, that they talked about in the video, that's the part of the earth that's getting that tiny little, it looks tiny from space, but obviously it's huge, it's miles long. And it's going to create this little shadow that moves across. And in the, I can't remember if this video or the other video, I've watched a whole bunch of videos. We're going to have, it's like every 300 or 400 years before the same exact spot gets a total solar eclipse. And so our next total solar eclipse to come literally in the path of totality for North Texas is actually going to be in 2 years. Is that right? 2020? No, 4 years, 2024. Yes, 2024. Because I remember the first year I taught this class, that group of sixth graders, that's their senior year. I think it's like April 6th, 2024 or something like that. So we made a pact that their senior year, we would all come together and watch the total solar eclipse together. Y'all will be sophomores. You can join us. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. So, but that's the part that sees everything go completely dark, is if you're in that path of totality, and then everyone else, the rest of the earth that can see any of it, if you're in the penumbra part. So that's not everybody over here isn't seeing anything, right? It's just these people that happen to be having daytime in this path. We're going to see partial. We wouldn't see it fully covered. We might see just halfway, like something like this. See, there's some of the different stages that we might see. Okay, and I think that's all we're going to talk about today. Just wanted to give you an overview of solar eclipses. I know you guys probably already know a lot about them, or maybe you don't. Maybe you've already thought they were really interesting. So anyway, that's all you need to jot down today. Tomorrow you'll watch one more short video and answer those questions in your notes. And then, either you can do it Friday or Monday, whichever day you choose to do science. Then Tuesday we'll talk about lunar, and then we'll start wrapping up. Have one more little quiz about eclipses before we say goodbye. I'm not going to say that. That's sad. I already said it. I should edit that out. Nah. All right. You guys have a beautiful rest of your Thursday, and see you later.